So hello everyone, as Shahane mentioned, my name is Shahane Tigranyan. I am from Center of Advanced Software Technologies, and today I will talk mostly about stress and how we use ECGs to detect stress. And our paper is called Breaking Barriers in Stress Detection, an Inter-Subject Approach. So today we will first see why we decided to do this research, what we propose, and what we have as a result. So what's stress? Unfortunately, everyone undergoes some stress these days. And stress is the human body reaction to some events caused from outside, and it also affects our health and mental health also. For example, we can have some heart diseases, and when we undergo the stress, these heart diseases can escalate and we can become, let's say, more sicker than we was. And why we decide to use ECGs for stress detection? First of all, it was proved that when people are under stress, their ECG read changes. So we can see that we have more segments and peaks, as we see on the second image. And second part is the ECG of human is unique. So if we check 2%, their ECGs will be unique. And we can say that it's something like fingerprint, and we can identify people using their ECGs. And also, because we want to make this research more used, we need some cheap tool. And ECG is a quick and cheap tool. For example, today we use some smartwatches, Apple's or Samsung's or other watches, and we can record our ECGs. Yes, this ECG is not as correct as we want this day, but we hope that it will become more precise. And before I start the main topic, I want to introduce two terms that we will use during the talk. The first is the intra-subject research. This means when we have a data set, trained data set and test data set, and we introduce one-person ECGs in both sets. So for example, we will say that we have 5 persons, and for each person we can find an ECG sample in train and test set. And second one is the inter-subject approach, when we enter the data of one person only in one set. So if we train data on my ECGs, we won't have my ECGs on the test set. Why we mostly focused on the second part? Because, for example, you have a big company and your employees have a lot of stress, and you want to check them, and another employee decide to work with your company, and you need to retrain your model to use this tool if you use inter-subject approach. And inter-subject approach, you can just use your model that you have before, and you don't need to spend time to train another model. So inter-subject approach is cheaper, first of all, and it's more stable. As we can see, for intra-subject approach, there's a lot of research because it's easier to get higher result on this approach, because, as I say, one person ECG is unique, and if the model sees this ECG in the train set, it will easily identify that this person has a stress or other pathologies. And for inter-subject approach, there are a little less research. And what's the problem with inter-subject approach? That all the researchers use their data sets, they are close, so we can't evaluate their work. We can say that their work is precise, and they are mostly gender specific, age specific, based on the company type that they use. And so we decide to focus on this approach. And as I mentioned, because the data sets are close, small, and not diverse, we will use an open data set. And we propose solution that mostly based on contrastive learning, self-supervised contrastive learning, that allow us to use not only stress labeled data sets, but other ECG data sets in general. For our research, we choose two data sets. First one is the VSET. It's labeled data set of biomedical signals for stress detection. and there's only 15 participant records in this data set. And second one is widely used open ECG data set, PTBXL. There's nearly 22,000 of ECGs, and they are not labeled for stress. They are labeled for some heart pathologies. And we can see the statistics of our data sets. And as you can see, we said intra and we said inter. We decided to split data set in two ways to show how easily we can have a high accuracy on intra scenario and how it's hard to achieve for inter scenario. And what pipeline we have proposed. First step is the contrastive learning. Then we have some fine-tuning and pseudo-labeling and training DNN from scratch. And let's discuss each part separately. So let's start from contrastive learning. What's the contrastive learning stands for? It's an ML technique that allows you to get some meaningful representation of data in a labeled scenario. For example, as we can see in the image, we have two types of animals. We have labels, and we trained our models to understand that some representations are specific for penguins and others for bears. In self-supervised contrastive learning, we don't have labeled data, and we don't want to spend time for labeling. And we can say that we generate negative samples for our contrastive learning using some augmentations, flipping, rotating, cropping, etc. And for contrastive learning, we used a new model that was proposed recently. It's called TSTCC. It mostly combined from two parts, temporal and contextual blocks. Temporal blocks try to understand the representations based on cross-prediction task. So we have the same ECG signal. We generate two augmented versions of it, strong and weak. During our experiments, we understand that as weak augmentation, it's useful to use direct ECG without no augmentations. And for a strong augmentation, we find the Gaussian noise is the best. So we use just ECG from scratch and the Gaussian noise. And the contextual part is the similarity maximization. So we generated from temporal part two versions of our signal, and we want them to be as closer as it can be. And as we can see, there is a transformer model that's used nowadays everywhere, we can say. And as the encoder part, this part we use ResNet architecture, which is widely used for image computer vision tasks and also for time series prediction or classification or other tasks. And the second step of our research is fine-tuning and pseudo-labeling. As I said, we set the labeled data set, but it's quite small and only 15 participants. And if we use just this data set, we can say that we have a diverse by gender and age data set. So we decided to pseudo-label PTBXL. So we, first of all, contrastively pre-trained on PTBXL, then we fine-tuned on VSET. And use this model, we pseudo-labeled PTBXL. So we just inference our model on PTBXL. We get some labels of stress and no stress. And based on the model confidence, we filter our data set. So if our model says that it has stress, it should be confident that we can edit in our labeled data set. So we have artificially generated very large data set. It's 24,000. And we can continue our research. After our pseudo-labeling, we decided to train from scratch DNN or our new big data set and understand how it will work. So now let's understand what we have as a result. First of all, we decided to train for both scenarios, intra and inter, to understand if it should work. And as we can see, for intra scenario, we have very high metrics. For example, 99% of G-mean or weighted accuracy, and we can say that our model is good, but we remember that we can't use it if we have new participants. And for interscenario, we have poor results. It's nearly to random guessing. So our model don't work in this scenario, so we need to somehow improve it. And we decided to just fine-tune our contrastively pre-trained checkpoint on WeSaid-Inter dataset. And as we can see, we have better results. For example, we achieve 63 for G-mean, but it's not enough to use it in practice. So we need to go further. And we decided to use our pseudo-labeled dataset with our WeSaid-Inter dataset and train the ResNet model from scratch. And as we can see, we achieve high accuracy, 93%. Yes, it's less for WeSaid-Inter scenario, but it's the highest result nowadays on WeSaid dataset for inter-subject approach. And we think that we can enhance these results in future, but now this is the best our result. And as conclusion, we utilize the self-supervised contrastive learning algorithm to somehow cope with dataset shortage, and we achieve a certain result at 493 G-mean for inter-subject stress detection. And that's all. Thank you for being here.
I have questions. So why do you mix ResNets and transformers? Can you go back to that slide?
Yeah.
Here you have raw ECG signal as an input, you do some augmentations, and then you kind of try to tokenize it, right? So why do you use ResNets here and why not directly split it somehow and give it to transformers?
We follow the pipeline that was introduced in the TSTCC paper. They said that using ResNet as explicit feature extraction will work better just if we put our data in transformer, tokenize and just give it to transformer.
So you didn't play much with it.
We also tried different architectures instead of ResNet, smaller and bigger, but ResNet 15 is enough to achieve high accuracy at this stage.
And you did this self-supervised pre-training on this 10-second ECG dataset, which was 10,000.
22,000.
And do you know if there are other ECG sources?
Available sources mostly small, and PTBXL is the biggest one. And we are now thinking about mixing different sources, but there is a problem that there is not a lot of single lead ECG data, and we decided to just get the first lead from 12 leads because it's closer to single lead ECG from watches or other simple devices.
Oh, because your fine-tuning dataset is single lead?
Yeah, we said it's single lead too.
Oh, okay.
Because this task is for some small devices, and if you want to have 12 lead ECG, you need a physician that can put electrodes and get these data sets.
Do we have other questions? I think the next talk in this session will be about neural operators, which sounds dangerous, but it's about modeling this type of continuous functions with a more clever architecture. I think that might be useful for future work on this direction. And then tomorrow in the morning there will be a long lecture about self-supervised learning that they did very similar things for images and scaled it to like, hundreds of millions of images. That might also be useful. So, yeah. But I think this is great. It's 88%. You said that this is the best result on that single lead stress data set.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.